July is National Minority Mental Health Awareness Month, a time to raise awareness of the unique mental health challenges racial and ethnic minority communities face. Here to lead this important conversation is Dr. LeKeisha Hite, and we welcome her back to Virginia this morning. Hello, doctor.
Thank you, Corey. Thank you for having me. How are you today?
Absolutely. I'm doing well. I think this is such an important topic, and I want to get right into some of the issues that you typically see, particularly just when it comes to mental health, and then we'll talk about how it affects minority communities also.
Right. So mental health in itself has a stigma attached to it. So in general terms, a lot of people don't seek mental health treatment like they should. So it's kind of put on the back burner. It's medical, dental, then maybe mental health because of the stigma that's attached to it.
And do you find that we're talking about specific things? What comes to mind? Like when I think about mental health, I think about my state of being, I think about depression, I think about anxiety. Are these the type of things that usually fall under that umbrella?
It is, but mental health is broader than that. But most people have that catch-em of depression and anxiety. As soon as you start talking mental health, those are the two things that may come up, and maybe PTSD. But because mental health is broader than that, a lot of people tend to shun away from it. So if I have the basic depression and anxiety, okay, I may go seek treatment. But if I struggle with something else more severe, such as bipolar or schizophrenia, I may not seek treatment for that, or I may not recognize that I'm suffering with those symptomologies.
So when we think about that in racial, ethnic communities, I mean, let's just be honest. It's been the idea that, hey, therapy, no, that's not for me. We don't do that. We don't need that. But let's break through that barrier right now with that. Why do people need to move away from that kind of thought process?
Absolutely. The sad part of it is that in the minority population, what tends to happen is they feel like you shouldn't do that. That's stigma. Don't go tell the family secrets. You know, the other thing is accessibility. You know, the minority population is, undertreated, ignored, and so therefore they may not know that, hey, I have these things out here to go help me with this. On the contrary, my family feels like, you can't go, do treatment. You can't go and tell our family secrets. And then it's embarrassment with it too. Some people may not be comfortable with knowing this is what I'm struggling with and I know I need help, but I don't have the fortitude to go out there and ask someone for help because I'm embarrassed with dealing with this.
So what are some of those triggers just in general? Like what would be something where I might say to myself, you know what, maybe I do need some help. Something's not quite right. I might need to reach out to somebody.
Most likely the ability to move forward. If you feel yourself stagnant, if you feel yourself self-loathing, feeling down, feeling guilty, feeling hopeless, feeling helpless, and you can't get out of it with normal, going to a movie, exercise routine, eating better. If you feel that you can't get out of that, those are more signs that you may need to go seek some type of mental health treatment. Interesting.
You mentioned the word accessibility. What do you think are some of those reasons that guide that from assumably financial, or is it community-based? What are some of those barriers to where people think I can't afford it, or health care or access to that? What are some of those blockers there?
The biggest blocker is knowledge and knowing that it's out there and availability. Some of us are just hidden inside of a culture that we may not reach out, or we may not have pamphlets and stuff to let us know this is available to you. For instance, when you go to a medical facility and you sit in there for a doctor's appointment, you may have a pamphlet for some medication. Something that could be easy, here go a pamphlet for mental health. Are you suffering with these symptoms? If so, reach out to this number or this hotline. And accessibility is one of the key things for people to know I can get help for whatever I'm suffering with.
Yeah. Do you find that people, when they're in that state of mind, do people sometimes go to medical means? You talk about pamphlets, medication, skip over, do you feel like, I feel like sometimes a lot of people will skip over and go, okay, well, maybe some medication will fix it, but really I need to go through the process, right, to get help or to seek help.
Correct. It's acknowledgement.
Yeah.
We're more driven to acknowledge something is medically wrong with us versus something mentally wrong with us. And we are more accepting of something medical is wrong with us than something mental is wrong with us. And that's, again, stigma that's attached to mental health. So many people think that people with mental health are problematic, they're going to get involved in the judicial system, or they are deemed crazy, which is, not fair to them, but that's the stigma that's attached to mental health. So people don't want to put themselves in a situation where someone can say that person is crazy, if you will.
Right, absolutely. Last question for you. For our viewers who are watching this right now, saying, you know what, I feel like she's talking to me. What are the steps that you want people to know that they can take right now if they feel like they're fitting into this category of now wanting to take the steps to get help?
Right. The great thing about today's population is everyone has access to the internet. You can go Google. If you Google mental health, you go Google depression, Google anxiety. A plethora of different type of providers will come up, different ways that you can reach out to someone. You can go to Psychology Today. You can actually call your medical facility. Some of those people may refer you out to a mental health professional like myself.
Wow. Great information. Dr. LeKeisha Hite, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. For more information on this topic or the services Dr. Hite provides at Therapeutic Treatment Center and Therastop, just visit our show website this afternoon at virginiathismorning.com. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.